interview that you need to watch out for on the channel. Abhay Soi, who's from Radiant Life, joins in to talk about the bid that they have put in for Fortis. Abhay, it's great to have you on the show. Outline to us your interest in Fortis.
Well, I think it's a great bunch of assets and it's a great management. They've done a spectacular job of setting up the kind of hospitals they have. So that is really our, we are operators of hospitals, so that's really our area of interest.
Why now, Abhay? Did you pitch in? Because, it was really 11th hour, 59th minute when you came in with your bid.
Well, we were actually expecting a process to be run, given all the situations and circumstances surrounding the company. But when we saw that that wasn't really happening, we thought, we'd make a direct approach to the board at that stage.
It's been the most aggressive bid so far. Up until now, we've only seen all the four bidders in fray, the ones before you, to circle around that 150, 5 odd rupees per share value. At 165, would you be willing to up your bid further if the need arises?
Look, we haven't conducted a due diligence of the entire company so far. I believe there is value in the company, and once we were to do a due diligence, then perhaps we could be looking at a better value. But having said that, one does understand that, and this is largely from media reports, that there is a cash crunch in the company. So our bid also includes purchasing certain assets upfront if the company so wishes, which can provide the much required cash infusion into the company. And thereafter, it gives it time to run a process and, for us to complete the diligence and come up with the best and the fair price for the rest of the assets.
Did you say that you are yet to assess what is actually there on Fortis's books? How much debt, how much assets, etc.?
No, I mean, we've assessed how much debt and how much assets what assets there are, whatever is available in whatever is publicly available in terms of information. But I think we'll have to conduct a due diligence to actually look at the entire company as a whole. And this doesn't have to be really an extensive diligence, but we need at least a few weeks.
Just please help us out here. You haven't done due diligence as of now, which is essentially, checking the books in depth. Like you said, you've gone with the public data, but you hope that will take a few weeks. But the board, and we just had the advisory panel member, Mr. Lalit Bhasin speak with us. They are likely to take a decision within a matter of a week. So how is this going to work?
Well, the way we proposed it so far, and I wasn't privy to the interview actually because I was traveling, but the way we proposed it so far is that we wish to do a diligence on the company and thereafter give a binding offer for the entire company as a whole. However, if there is a requirement of cash to tide over, then we are willing to purchase assets upfront.
Right, Abhay, this is Pankaj also joining in. I just wanted to ask that, why there is so much interest as far as Fortis is concerned. Do you think it's the number 2 player which is there in the industry, and, any of the other player which is 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th in the industry, once they acquire this company, it will completely change the dynamics of the industry? That's why there is so much interest as well?
No, well, that's not the way I look at it. I don't think there's any requirement to be number 1, number 2, or number 3. I think it's a set of very, very good assets which have been created, and that's really what the attraction is.
Can you just tell us the
quality of the assets?
Right. Can you also just tell us that once you or any other player which is in race to buy this company acquires these assets, try to run these assets, will the scale and size of the operation completely change, and how does that change things on ground for any of the big players?
Well, the scale and size of operation for some time will probably remain the same because really I think the amount of brownfield within the portfolio of Fortis is quite adequate for some time.
Also, could you also just tell us that, what happens to the return ratios? I mean, of course, you said that you've not done the numbers, but if you look at Fortis's publicly available data numbers, it's much lower than any of the other listed players. So do you think the chances of synergy with any players who runs operations or has experience to run operations will be particularly very high?
So look, the way I look at it is that, as so far as the fixed costs are concerned, we believe or we assume that they are higher than what they should be, compared to how we run our operations. So perhaps I think there may be some leverages where fixed cost is concerned.
Also, just a last word on the pricing. As you know, even you earlier answered that you have not done your numbers fully, and you would look into as things progress. But there are 5 suitors for this company right now. 4 of them are from the hospital foray. And it's a very attractively #2 player in the market. So whoever backs this, the acquisition will not be cheap because the other would be ready to raise.
So look, let me step back and say it's not as if we haven't done the numbers. We've done the numbers. But I think there is, given all the uncertainty around the company with respect to the investigations, etc., then there is a requirement for a legal and accounting diligence to be done for us to get comfortable around it. I think that's where we are. We understand the assets. We understand the ability of the assets to generate the kind of revenues they do. But it's just, I think, everything else around the company and the balance sheet is what we need to understand a little better.
Abhay, my only question to you is, and I know you've said this once earlier, that you're okay, or you're at least open to revising the bid higher as things progress and as you go through the due diligence process. I don't know whether you would get that opportunity. Now, are you going to be reaching out to the panel members or to the board saying, look, we are open, if we see greater value if through the due diligence process, I don't know whether you'll get that much time, we are open to hiking our price or hiking our bid if that would be the case?
Look, we'd like the opportunity to present our case to the board. Eventually, it is up to the board and the shareholders to decide which way to go.
Right. And when do you propose to do that? Like, are you going to be doing that right now, over the weekend, in the coming week?
Yes, we reached out to the management. We're just hoping to connect with them.
Right.
Abhay, I have to understand, this is all the good bait, and I understand that whatever is in the public domain of Fortis, the quality of books, etc., and I'm sure you've done your due diligence. What's going to be a deal spoiler for you? At what minute you'd say, okay, we back off?
Well, I think there could be a lot of legal issues around this which could make us back out. It's not really the commercial aspect, but I think everything else, legal and regulatory, which can spook us.
But are you assured on the quality of books and the fact that whatever is there in the public domain is it? Or do you sense that there could be some skeletons out of the closet once you do eventually reach that stage and you do actually see the quality of books and it all gets opened up?
Look, that would be entirely speculative, and there's no point me extending myself on that.
Okay. Let's talk, right, just one last question. You've also made an offer of 3,600 crores for SRL. Is that also open for a revision higher? I mean, would you believe that that would be something that you would want to revisit? Or is that...
We could consider that as well.
You could perhaps see more value in SRL?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, okay. Thanks very much, Abhay, for joining us. I think this has been an exhaustive interview. But thanks very much for sharing with us as many details as possible. I know you have your own restrictions at this point as well.